really get a sense of the scale of this place. Oh wow, that's brilliant. Welcome back to the channel and thank you for being here. Just to say, this video is proudly sponsored by FS Academy, and they've got a new bundle called Zero to Hero, which offer 5 training packs in one package. That is IFR, VFR, Jetliner, Navigator and Commander. Priced at $69.99, this represents roughly around 40% discount from the full lineup, with a total of 60 training missions produced by a real world airline captain. All the links for FS Academy will be in the description below. Anyway, it's now time to get into today's video. Hello folks, it's time for the next leg of our epic ferry flight all the way from the UK to the US in the Black Square Turbine Duke, and we are currently sat here in Iceland. I'll just put on the screen now where we are because I'm not going to attempt to try and pronounce that, and I'll also show you some footage of my approach into this beautiful airport in Iceland in the Varia XR4, which I did off camera. As you can see, that is friggin' beautiful scenery, and I can't believe that we've got a new sim coming out this year when it already looks this beautiful. So the idea today is I'm going to fly in the Crystal Light. This is a 3-hour flight, and this gives me a good chance to check out the comfort and also show you some new comfort mods from a company called Studioform. They are absolutely the last word when it comes to comfort accessories for the high-end headsets, such as the Varia Aero and the Pimax Crystal Standard, now the Light, as well as many others. I do have, and this is not a sponsor video by the way, but I do happen to have a 5% discount code in the description below of all things Studioform, and I've had a really great relationship with Davo for many years now, and you know what he hasn't done for VR in terms of comfort isn't worth mentioning, because he has done so much for the community. Now Studioform offer a full range of different balancer kits. As you can see here, I'm showing you the Crystal Light at the moment. Anyway, welcome back to the cabin of the Turbine Duke. I'm using this aircraft because it is a living and breathing aircraft. This thing will break if you don't use it correctly. And you know what? This is a study level aircraft. Absolutely. Black Square have definitely got that accolade in the bag. And I've got loads of content of the Turbine and Piston Duke on the channel now, including a full review. Look at this scenery here today. Wow. So I am using some comfort mods for this particular flight for the first time. I'll show you some shots now. Now Studioform offer a really cool feature where you can actually use spacers in between the facial interface and the lenses, because there are complaints out there from people who find that the lens to eye distance is too close, which can induce eye strain. I don't personally have an issue with that. That's why you won't see it on the headset, but it is great that they've got that as an option. Also, as you can see, there is a new fabric comfort facial foam replacement, which I'm using right now. And I've got to say, straight away, like, I've only been in the headset for about, well, 15 minutes so far, and it does feel really sumptuous and just very nice on my skin. I much prefer this to the leather face foam, but let's see what it's like after about 3 hours. So as I say, I've already been in the headset for about in fact, what's the time? Oh wow, no, I've been in the headset now for 20 minutes already. That's due to the fact that I have to get everything set up ready for this recording. So let's see how things go over time, and I've just realised I need to change my throttle because I've only got it in one engine mode. Right, damn. Let me get back to you in a second. Right, sorry about that folks. I'll just show on the screen, if I remember, what I was using before, and that was from a Discord member. So thank you buddy if you're watching this. He did send me a really cool it's like single throttle quadrant handle, whatever you call it, and actually it really feels so much more realistic for single prop aircraft. Anyway, we're back like this. So I'm not going to show you the startup simply because I have shown that many times. I'm going to be another 20 minutes doing that because of the aircraft. But what I will say quickly before we get down the runway is I'm also using the Force Feedback CLS-60 Yoke, which I have got. Wow, look at this, look, it's just so amazing. I've got a full review on the channel. So not only am I using a Force Feedback Yoke, I'm using the DOF Reality H2 and the haptics within that, as well as my SRS haptic seat. And I can't wait to try it in a twin because I haven't done that yet. I have just changed some of the options so that we don't get prop wash and all that kind of thing, because technically I don't think we'd get that with a twin. Might be wrong, guys. But right, this is all about the Pimax Crystal Light and the comfort as well as the experience of using a CLS-60 Force Feedback Yoke on a long run. If you're interested in this video, please stick around, maybe pause it here, get yourself a nice drink and come with me and let's go flying. Right then folks, so welcome to Iceland, but only for a few minutes because we're going to be getting ourselves out of here. Look at the views here. Oh my word, this is absolutely beautiful. Right, anyway, let's just check everything is in order here. So don't worry, even though this is a 3-hour flight, where the hell am I going? I'm not going to, obviously, this video is not going to be 3 hours. Don't worry. In fact, it'll probably be only around 20 minutes, half an hour. I've no idea, quite honestly, but either way, thank you for being here. It really means a lot. So, we've just done our checks. Before takeoff checklist, just making sure everything is all good for takeoff. One thing I must admit I do miss from my Alpha Yoke, and that's probably more laziness than anything else, is the fact I did have more switches for like the, you know, the lights and the magnetos and that kind of thing. Oh, look at this. So we are going to be going straight into some interesting weather. So make the most of these beautiful views. Like for instance, I'd normally put my lights on now, but I've got to do it with the mouse now. So that's taking some getting used to, and I need to think about that, whether I can maybe get something else, like another module or something for that to fit on top of the yoke. That'd be quite cool. Right then, so yeah, power levers will be at 2060, parking brakes were released, engine instruments are checked, everything's all good. The battery, by the way, is a bit hot. Notice that it is going down, but I'm a bit worried about that, and that's the thing with this aircraft, I can't say this enough, is the fact that all these systems are doing their own thing in the background. There's so much systems fidelity in this aircraft, it's amazing. And look at this, my engine condition so far this whole trip, it's gone down a couple of percent. So yeah, I need to be a little bit more careful with my engines, I think. So I think we're all good, everything is where it should be, apart from the fact that we don't have flaps yet. Trim is all connected to the yoke. So as I move my trim wheel, which is a Sci-Tech trim wheel, it will also move the yoke. And I can feel the vibration as well through the yoke, which is just fantastic. One thing I haven't done, and that is change my altimeter setting. Let me do that now. Notice how I did that just by muscle memory. In fact, I've got my little keyboard now sat on my yoke, which is a better position than it was down there. Although things are slightly in different positions than I'm used to. So if you see me fumbling around a little bit, that's because I just need to get muscle memory back. And I will do it. It's not an issue for me at all. Oh, feel that. Oh, I forgot motion compensation. I did that last time. It's too late now. Aviate first. Careful of that torque. We're rolling. Oh wow, that was a bit bumpy, but we are airborne. Flaps, sorry, gear going up now. And let's just get rid of this checklist so we can enjoy these views. Holy crap, the crystal light looks good. I'm telling you, it just looks so good. And at the moment I have been using different VR headsets simply because that's what the channel's about. So, I can really feel already the wind forces as well on the Yoke. Fantastic. But I do feel having different VR headsets means I do appreciate when they're really good. Like, I've been using the Quest 3 quite a lot recently. And going back to the Crystal Light, it's just, it really does shock me every time. And even against something like the Somnium VR1, like, this thing stands up really, really well in terms of actual clarity. So we're going to hand fly this for now. We need to be very careful here for icing as well. Notice that I'm using the hat switch outside of the aircraft to move around, but inside I can move it to sort of go left, right, backwards and forwards in the cockpit. People ask me how do I do that all the time. It's the VR translation keys. That's what you want, that's what you're looking for, translation, the word translation, and then you'll find how to do that. And I really like with the CLS-60 that I'm able to use the hat switch for 2 different modes, but also there's a button on the hat switch itself to move from spot plane to cockpit. And that's all I need. It's quite honestly all I need. Right, concentrate now then. We're now out of the cloud, which I'm very happy about. There is some rain around. And this is a perilous voyage, make no mistake. We are literally in the wildlands here in Iceland, in an aircraft that will bite you very hard if you don't look after it properly. And I'm glad to say my battery is, the temperature is going down. I'm not quite sure why that happened. Might be to do with the start, I'm not quite sure. So, oil doors are closed, ice deflectors are closed as well. We'll put the landing light off now as well. And pitot heat, keep that on. Nice steady climb out at the moment. In fact, what I'm going to show you now is, at the moment I'm putting pressure on the yoke to keep it where it is. That's what you'd normally have to do with a spring-loaded yoke, but I can relieve that pressure. So let's just go for around 2,000 feet per minute. And see if I can trim this out. I can feel the yoke doing its thing here as well, which is very, very cool. I think we are getting a bit of turbulence as well. Oh, we're getting icing. We're getting a lot of icing here, which I expected. Right, let's just go prop heat as well. Holy crap, look at that. We do not want that. Right, that just distracted me. We do ideally want to be out of these clouds as well, but thankfully I think we're already out of the main bulk of the cloud, which is going to cause us issues. So right now I am hardly putting any pressure on the yoke at all. I'm just trying to find the sort of sweet spot for this aircraft for our climb. And it is wavering quite a bit actually, but there we are. I think we're about there. So 140 knots, 2,000 feet per minute, and the yoke is now stabilized in its position. I don't have to keep putting pressure on it or trim for the same neutral position of the yoke. Look at this for a view, oh my word. I friggin' love VR so much. And it's funny because if I show my excitement about VR on the channel, which, you know, I'm like this even when I'm not recording YouTube videos. Melissa will tell you, when I'm just flying for myself, I'm always like, Melissa, come look at this. I bet she gets really annoyed with me, but I do. I'm always showing her, like, what I'm looking at in VR all the time. Because I am literally this sort of passionate about the hobby. So we're still hand flying here and keeping around the sort of well, it's wavering a little bit, but around 1800 feet per minute. And I just love how I don't have any pressure on the yoke at all. But you see, it is wavering a little bit. I think that's because some of the air here is a little bit unstable. I can feel some turbulence through the yoke as well. I mean, I don't want to gloat too much, folks, but having a motion rig and a force feedback yoke, it is just totally next level stuff. It really is. I feel extremely lucky to be able to experience this. Wowzers. So at the moment it's 3.5 hours, but hopefully as we continue to climb, we will start to shave a lot of that estimated destination time down. Now for today's flights, we've got £120 both sides of fuel, which has already gone down, and we're going to the full surface ceiling of the Duke. That is the maximum ceiling, 28,000 feet. So we're going to see how she copes with that. Alright, I think we'll take the windshield heat off now, should be fine. And we're going to continue on, take the prop back a little bit. And one thing I haven't noticed, which I'm too busy talking, is we need a lot more torque, because of course as we get higher we're going to be more ITT limited, not torque limited. So now, wow, look at this, 110% on the torque. And this is where the Turbine Duke really starts to stretch its legs at higher altitudes. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Crystal Light is like on a 3-hour plus flight. Because I know, folks, you're looking at this headset right now and thinking, I look ridiculous. It looks like I've got a brick on my head. Well, let me tell you, I personally feel, and this is subjective, I realise, but I find the Crystal Light incredibly comfortable, like really comfortable. I am used to big, heavy headsets, and I do feel, quite honestly, that the Somnium VR1 would not be able to do a flight like this at the moment with the prototype that I did use, simply because of the issues with the strap. Now I'm going to try a 3-hour flight once I get the final production unit, because I am hoping, in fact I do know already, that all of the feedback that I've given the team, they have changed the headset because of it. Part of that, I'll tell you what they've done, is change the hinge design, because it was far too loose, which meant that the headset dropped down all the time. Whoops, sorry, I think I've just messed my microphone. No, it's still there, thank God. So it kept dropping down on my face, which was one of the main issues. The hinge needs to have enough play to be able to adjust it, but also stay in position and take most of the weight of the headset and transfer that weight back across the strap and into the back of the head strap. So they have done that now, but unfortunately I had to send the headset back before I could test that. I'm also going to try a few other things to get that comfort where it needs to be, but I can't do any of that until I've got the final unit, which should be on the channel in the near future. But in the meantime, I am super enjoying the Crystal Light, and I do feel, as I said before, for most people out there, the Crystal Light absolutely makes the most sense. It's the best bang for your buck, without a doubt. It really is. I love this headset. And I'll tell you what, so far, the comfort of this facial interface is really, really nice. This look, we are now leaving Iceland behind and heading to Greenland, our next stop on our perilous voyage. Now I was going to use a different headset. I was going to use the Reverb G2 or Big Screen Beyond or Pimax AKX So let me know in the comments below, what headset would you like me to feature for the next leg, which will be Greenland to Canada. I'd love to know. Look at this, I am perfectly trimmed out at the moment, and I can just enjoy the views. It's so much easier trimming the aircraft with a force feedback yoke. It's very much like real life. You feel the aircraft, you feel the wings, you feel the air pressure, the turbulence, the elevator, and that way you're not bouncing around all the time and you're not constantly sort of having to fight the controls, and it's not too sensitive. It feels like a proper aircraft here. It feels quite, well, for the lack of a better word, quite manly. You know, feeling the yoke in your hands and this massive wing and the engines and just the pressure of the air. It feels great. I love it. Absolutely love it. Once you go force feedback, there's absolutely no way you're going back. That is for sure. Right then, well, I've kind of yapped away all the way to near our cruise. We'll get the checklist out, just make sure everything is in order here. So you may have noticed that I still haven't put the autopilot on yet. And that's simply because I love using this yoke, and hand flying the aircraft is a joy. See, we're right on target here with our flight plan, and we're 1,000 to go now. In fact, one thing I didn't do, just set that as well. It really is a joy to fly with this yoke, and we're leaving all the bad weather behind here, although I've no idea what the weather's going to be like in Greenland. Right, so we are now at the surface ceiling, the maximum ceiling of the Turbine Duke, and you can see here we are ITT limited, can't really push the torque any further, and we really are, like, I can see we're on the maximum that we can go. Like, let's just get to 28,000 feet because we're very slow here. There we go. Right, autopilot coming on, and you can see the aircraft, sorry, not the aircraft, the yoke now responding to that. One thing I really love about the yoke is that when the autopilot is activated, the yoke will simulate what the aircraft is doing, if you want it to. So you'll see it moving left, right, up and down, all that kind of thing, which is very, very cool. Oh, there's so many things this yoke can do, it's crazy really. I think for the price, it is superb value for money. Right, so ignitions are auto, oil doors are closed, ice deflectors not required, pitot heat is on, windshield heat not required at the moment, prop heat, actually I can take that off now. And all these things have an effect on the engine. Fuel imbalance, well, at the moment we are 108 and 109, so we're all good there. Prop, let's just move that back a little bit. Did just get a cabin altitude pressure warning, but I think that's just gone off. No, it keeps going back on and off. I'll have a look at that in a moment. There we go, try and get to the... I don't think we've got a prop sync on this, have we? Like we have with the piston Duke. There we are, we're at 2,000 both sides. Power levers, as required, well, say we are. Probably can push it a little bit here. So we will. Ground speed at the moment is 280 knots. Not bad going, and our ETA is now nearly 2 hours already. That's pretty impressive. Told you, the Turbine Duke, she is a beast. Right, cabin temp and mode as desired. It's all good. Looking at the cabin pressure, because we do have a warning on the dash there, so we'll keep that in mind. So with that being said, let's get the tray tables out in the back and enjoy the rest of the flight, guys. and I'm going to let you know how the comfort goes with the Crystal Light during this test. Now, I've already been in the headset for nearly an hour already, and I feel great, absolutely fine. Keep in mind, with this particular crystal, I don't have a top strap on it. Now, of course, I would recommend that you get a top strap, because anything to make that comfort a bit better is definitely worth it. But this makes the test even more interesting, the fact that it doesn't have a top strap. And I do moan all the time that I think all VR headsets, even the big screen beyond, needs some support on the top of the head. Let's see how the Crystal Light fares without it. But I do find that this is really, really comfortable, and it will be interesting to see how it feels. Now, I do think that the Crystal Light does suffer from a little bit of heat because there's no fans in this headset to cut costs. So I'm expecting this to get a little bit warmer along this route, but to be honest, we are in Iceland. As you can see here, it looks very cold down there, so maybe a bit of warmth isn't so bad after all. But yeah, we'll see how we get on during this flight. So I'm going to leave it there for this particular part of the leg, and I'll see you a bit further down the road, and yeah, enjoy the rest of this flight. One thing I did forget to tell you, by the way, and that is the Turbine Duke has had some really cool updates. One of which is the fact you can do this now. Hang on, let me get it right. Look at this! I can move this tablet anywhere I want to, and even change the position to be, you know, so it's further away or really close. And I really like it about there. That is such a great quality of life update. So Black Square, thank you for that. It means I can enjoy looking at my engine and all of the clever systems that are doing their thing whilst I'm up here flying at 28,000 feet. Pretty damn amazing. I love this aircraft so much. I think it complements the general aviation segment so well in this sim. And you know, I'm not much of an airliner guy, but, and again, I don't want to gloat too much, but I can't tell you what it feels like to have a force feedback yoke, motion rig, an aircraft of this fidelity, a headset of this high resolution, all coming together. It does create an amazing GA experience. Right, that's what I was going to say. We're about an hour and 45 minutes down the road. Comfort, still feel absolutely fine. And I still feel really cool as well, but it's not a particularly hot day in the UK, it must be said. But yeah, feeling all good in the Black Square Turbine Duke. I'll see you on approach. I lied, I'm back again, sorry, but I've just had a eureka moment. I've now realised how to increase the temperature in the cabin, because at the moment it's -7 and I'm freezing. It's this here, pressurization, air temperature. I've realised that now, so you don't need to start shouting in the comments any longer, because we're going to get warm again. I'm so sorry for all of you in the back there that are chattering your teeth and you've got your hat, coat and scarf on. Look at that, it's a balmy -5 now. And soon yeah, we're going to be back in some nice warm temperatures in the cabin again. So on behalf of VR Flight Sim Guy Airways, I do apologise, and there's no refunds. You're just going to have to lump it and deal with it, I'm sorry. But look at that, we're now at -3. Oh, fantastic. So -2, we are definitely getting warmer. So, but that's what I love about this bird, you know, really you do need to read the manual. And I have done that, but clearly not enough. And I did notice as well that we were getting some FOD. So we might have to keep an eye on the engine, because we can put our inertial separator on, which I believe is the ice deflectors here, if needs be. And just look at this. That's the thing, even though I'm doing a really boring crossing, I'm still really enjoying it. Partly because I am a VR aviation nerd, but also because it does look so damn good. We've got some airliners here even higher than us. Saying we're at 28,000 feet, no contrails for us today. And look at this, we're now at 10 Celsius. I'm just going to put that back a little bit. We're going to be nice and warm in the cabin before too long. And the cabin pressure is all good as well. That light's gone off. And we are currently about an hour and a half away. So I do mean it this time. I will see you as we start our descent into Greenland. Looking forward to that one. Right then, so welcome back aboard the Turbine Duke in the Pimax Crystal Light on this rather long leg, and it has been a lengthy leg so far. We've just broken the last hour, and as you can see, the tailwind we had, when it was about 10 knots, it's now turned into a side wind, which meant that we have, well, the progress has been quite slow, and even at, as I say, 28,000 feet, we're only doing around 280 odd knots ground speed. At one point it was doing about 320, but it just keeps on going down. That's a good thing in a way, because this is, after all, a comfort test as well. And also, I'm now waiting to see the first signs of Greenland. I'm trying to work out if that's it over there, or is it a big layer of cloud? No, I think that might be Greenland, or rather, white land. If you look here, there's definitely land ahoy, and I've just changed to direct. We were following the 6340N airway, and I'm going to start descending down soon. So what has it been like then aboard the Turbine Duke and the Crystal Light on this perilous and long voyage? Well, I did cheat, admittedly. I did make myself a coffee and a croissant at one point. I did let the dogs out, and then I heard this woofing because Colin had basically locked himself out of the house in the garden, so I let him in. But apart from that, I have been in the headset. But you know, I figured even if you were doing an airliner flight on a 2D screen, most of you won't be sat there for the entire time. I'm pretty sure you'll be making a coffee at some point. Now, I must admit, I have missed the mixed reality capabilities of the VR1, because I do like to check my phone sometimes, although that is kind of a bad habit really, and I want to be immersed in the sim. But it is nice to check your phone, check your surroundings, check your virtual desktop. There is a way, to be fair, there is a way now of looking at your virtual desktop on the Crystal Light. But I'm not going to try that today, because I don't want to mess anything up here, because the last thing I need right now is some sort of issue or crash of the sim when we're getting so close to our destination. But in terms of comfort, I must admit, even though I do like this Studioform facial interface, phone pad, and for the first hour I thought it was more comfortable than the standard, but I don't think it is. I think the standard facial interface is also very good. In some ways it gives you a bit more support on the front of your head, basically on your forehead. However, I do feel that if I did have a top strap like here, yeah, that would take all that pressure off. So I think with a top strap or a Studioform Apache strap, that would be the best way to use this headset, definitely, because then it's going to be really comfortable for hours and hours on end. And to be honest, I'm being really picky. I am being really picky. But notice how it's slightly moving down off my face there. So I can just do this. And I have, every now and then, just messed around with it, just like I did then. Just repositioned it a little bit. Every, say, half hour, 40 minutes or so. It's no big deal, and I still feel this is a very, very comfortable headset. I do feel, though, that the XR4 is a lot more comfortable. A couple of reasons why, but really it's not that important because the XR4 is insanely expensive, so it's not really like I'm giving you good consumer advice here, is it? But the XR4 has lovely fans that you can feel on your face, and also it kind of like floats over your face a bit more than this. But apart from that, no, this is feeling absolutely fine, and I've got no major issues like I have with the Somnium VR1 at the moment with the comfort of this thing. It's great, and it's much better than the standard Crystal Light. Be honest, I actually do prefer the Crystal Light even over the fancy standard edition with the eye tracking, the XR4 chipset and all the wireless capabilities, which is yet to be seen. I prefer this because it's just fuss-free VR. This is the most fuss-free Pimax headset ever, and right up there with any headset really, in terms of just plugging it in and it working straight away. One thing I have noticed though, just a sort of observation, since I have been staring at the sky for absolutely ages, when just looking at a complete white background or sort of bluish sky like this, I have noticed a little bit of like Miura lines in mine, but it's only down the side here, the bottom, and they really are very, very faint. And this is the thing about flight simulation and what makes my channel, I think, fit for purpose for, you know, really testing out VR headsets, is the fact that flight simulation really does showcase image quality the best, and that's because you're looking at fine detail, fine text, fine really tiny gauges, but also like uniform colors where you can really pick out the display quality and sort of that pixel inconsistency, which is part of the problem having Miura. Now I will say it's not an issue at all for me, especially for the price, and if you think about it, the XR4, well, the lines in that are way worse than this. Even my like new version, which is far better, it still has slightly stronger lines than this. So there you are. And to be honest, most headsets I've ever used has some sort of Miura involved. The VR1 even has a tiny bit of Miura, like 2 or 3%. It really is nothing, but it is there if you really look for it. I think the only headset that I haven't noticed any Miura is the big screen beyond, simply because the way the micro OLED display technology is manufactured, you don't tend to get Miura. Although that headset has a small sweet spot, as you know, and has loads of glare, so pick your poison, folks, pick your poison. There is no perfect VR headset out there. But you know what? Honestly, I would be very happy if I just had this headset and nothing else. In fact, to be honest, I think the best combination at the moment, if you would pick two headsets, is the Quest 3, because that headset is amazing. Because it does gaming so well, standalone. It does flight simulation pretty well as well. It's a very good all-round headset. But to have the Quest 3 as your muckabout VR headset for gaming, with friends, all that kind of thing, have a Crystal Light for your sim rig. Definitely. Unless, of course, you've got a lot of money. In which case, the best, like the Somnium VR1, providing the comfort is sorted. Oh, I have to keep saying that because I haven't got the final unit yet. Hopefully I'll nip that one in the bud soon. Or the Vario XR4. But you're talking megabucks. And I think the screen in this is fantastic. And it's every bit as sharp as the XR4. And not quite as sharp as the Somnium VR1. such an interesting time, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, hang on a minute, things are changing. I thought our destination time was getting slower. We're now getting a bit of a headwind, or well, the wind's coming from this direction and it's getting stronger. And I can't see any, there's the next radar on, yes it is. Can't see any rain at the moment, so I guess we'll see. Let's have a look at our next airport, nearest airport list. Look at that. You know you're in the wilderness when there's no airfields anywhere near your position. Oh dear. Right, time to check the engine and all that kind of good stuff. Make sure everything is where it should be. No FOD going in, that's good. I really love how you can now change this tablet. It's very cool. Notice now that we're nice and warm in the cabin. It is 22 Celsius. If anything, that's a little bit warm, but that's alright. But yeah, I do like this Studioform facial replacement foam. Overall, I do feel there, as I say, because there's less of an area here on your forehead, you definitely need a bit of support on the top. But it's very comfortable, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to be as picky as I can be here, guys. If I'm honest, it's actually not an issue for me at all, but I've got a feeling it might be for some of you. Listen to those spatial sounds with the DMAS speakers. That is one thing I truly miss when I try other headsets, like the Aero, the Big Screen Beyond, the XR4, the Somnia VR1. Just this beautiful off-ear audio is fantastic. It really is so good. Right then, I think we'll just we'll just dial in our altitude because we are going to be descending soon. I'm already getting used to where things are because the thing is, because this force feedback yoke is so ginormous, I've had to sort of rearrange things a little bit. Now my keyboard is here, which is actually a better position. I'll get used to that. But my quadrant is a bit further that way. I might see if I can bring it a bit closer. So I'm not used to stretching so far for it. And it might look like on the camera that this is a bit too close to me, but this actually feels in the perfect position for me. It might seem like it's a bit too high, but no, I quite like it because look, I can just sit here and have my armrest here, and it's just really comfortable. And many people ask, what chair am I using with my DOF Reality H2? It is my old Secret Labs gaming chair. I basically had to make some new holes so it would fit the H2, but yeah, it works a treat. Talking of motion rigs, I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully in the future, I don't know when, hopefully I'm going to get access to the Yoke 3 because I've been talking to the developers there, and when they're ready they might be sending one over to me. So that's going to be interesting to see how that compares. Do you know, the vibration of this yoke is like a really smooth vibration. That's what I like about this CLS-60. It's not just like one crappy haptic. You feel the vibration depending upon the engine and the RPM. At the moment it's really smooth because everything's in check and the aircraft is just purring away, which it needs to be doing because we're still over the sea at the moment, but not for long though. Look at this. We are definitely seeing land ahead. Fantastic. Don't really need this light on. Don't know why I've left that on for. It's plenty bright enough with this blue sky. It's funny though because compared to the VR1, the Crystal is, well, it's got quite, the display in it's okay, but it feels dim in comparison. But once you've been using it for a bit, you really do climatize. It's like your eyes get used to it, like in the real world. And this now feels bright enough for me. It's only when you start, you know, using the Beyond where you really start noticing that lack of light, lack of brightness rather. Well, since we're now up to a 45 knot wind coming from our sort of 2 o'clock position, let's start descending. So to do that, I want to make sure that I set the correct pressure. So if you wonder what I'm doing here, I'll just zoom in for you. I'm just going to get waypoint information. Elevation 73 feet. Okay, that's fine. In which case, we'll start changing this and bringing it down. Oh, I can feel more vibration going through the yoke now. That's amazing, isn't it? This is such a great addition to your hobby. It really is. I love this thing. I'm looking forward because I'm in touch with Fabian, the developer, and he's looking at producing a VR style yoke handle with more switches and buttons. And while this is like a complete, you know, replica of a Cessna 172 yoke, and it looks beautiful, I would personally prefer a VR yoke that isn't really necessarily realistic to any particular aircraft. But it means that it will still look amazing, it'll still look great, and it'll have all the, like, a lot more buttons and bindings, which would be really great. But to be fair, I don't really need a lot more. So I've got my views in and outside the cockpit, I've got my ATC, I've got the VR menu, got the autopilot disconnect here, spot view, cockpit view, and of course the trim, which, to be fair, I could change that and have two buttons here because I've already got my own trim wheel. So that's quite a lot of options, and I think that's more than most for force feedback yokes that I've come across. Look at this, that's much better. Yeah, I think we did. That was a good call starting to descend because the wind is already half of what it was, and our destination time is decreasing a bit more. So yeah, feeling totally fine in the headset. It does, obviously, now that I've been using it for like well over 2.5 hours now, there is a little bit of warmth there, but it really is not an issue for me. It reminds me of like the Reverb G2 Vive Pro, not the Vive Pro 2. That thing is an oven in the headset, not very comfortable. Big screen beyond gets hotter than this, but yeah, it's not like it's unbearable or anything, and it feels fine. It's just that you do notice it gets a little bit warmer than the standard Crystal. It's funny, you know, now that I've said that, people are going to go, oh no, that's it, I can't use it, I'm going to cancel my pre-order, because clearly what he's saying is that it's going to burn my forehead. Don't worry folks, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying it gets a little bit warm in the headset, alright? Don't worry. You'll actually appreciate it on a cold day. And let's face it, the UK these days, it's usually miserable weather anyway. In fairness though, I would recommend, if you can afford it, in getting a little, like, air conditioning unit. I have one right here, it's off camera, you probably won't be able to see it. But that blasts cold air onto me when there's like a 30-degree day or whatever, or even say mid-20s. I have that on, and it means that I can enjoy VR even on a really super hot day. I remember, was it last year or the year before, it got up to about 40 degrees at one point. That thing, yeah, I could have sold that for like 10 times the price, because air conditioning units were just completely sold out everywhere. But no, there's no way I would have sold that. And you know, even though for probably 70-80% of the year I don't really use it, it is very useful for those summer months, and it's actually quite useful as well as a dehumidifier. 40 minutes out, I think I will again cut the video as we're descending very nicely here. About to go standard with the pressure setting, and yeah, all is well in the Turbine Duke. So I'll see you as we hit Greenland, not literally, but flying over it hopefully. So here we are, we've made it to Greenland, and normally I would be a little bit relieved by the fact that we are over land again, but this isn't really a very safe place for an aircraft to be. What a formidable landscape this is. Just look at it, it's just white everywhere. Doesn't get any more difficult than this for a screen to really showcase its true image quality, and the Crystal Light is performing really well here. Like, really well. This is like the perfect scene to see Miura, and while I can see a little bit, it's absolutely not an issue for me at all. It really isn't. So well done there to Pimax, as I do feel their display panels are getting better in terms of the quality. I remember when I first tried the standard crystal, the very first one, and I remember being very disappointed with the with just the lines and the sort of dirty display. Remember the Reverb G1? Some of you out there will remember that. That's what started the channel off, you know, the Reverb G1. And that had loads of Miura, like loads of foggy, sort of, how to explain it? It was like a mist, like a dirty window effect, and we've come a long way since those days. I just think as the VR users were getting more and more picky, and rightly so. Why not? Anyway, let's stow the tray table here and get back into the cockpit here. That's not a bad office, is it, eh? Look at this. That's a beautiful place to be, it really is. We'll stow the armrest. We'll put the landing lights on. And let's just do our checklist here. I think it's probably the descent checklist. Kind of already done that though, so that's fine. I'm so used to this aircraft now. But we'll do our approach checklist, because we technically will be on the approach. In fact, we already are on the approach. Oh, I can feel a bit of turbulence coming in there, and we are close to overspeed, so we'll just take that back a bit. ITT is good, torque is good, prop RPM, T's and P's all where they should be, everything is good. So yeah, cabin altitude, that's all good. We've got that selected to, well, 10,000 feet. Put that down a bit further now. We'll put that to sea level. That's all good there. We've got no warnings or indicators. Recog light will now be switched to on position. That's the beacon and recog. Pitot heat on if less than 4 Celsius. I'm pretty sure it's definitely less than 4 Celsius. Windshield heat, I'm a bit unsure about that one because we do have some cloud around. So you know what? Even though it tells me to switch it off, I'm going to put it on for this approach. Cabin temp mode to the off position. We'll do that in a moment because we're not quite there yet. And well, it's actually 25 degrees in the cabin. So you know what? We'll switch it off because that is quite warm. Ignitions are on auto. Ice deflectors, they may switch them on again because we are in a very formidable area of the world now. We've got to be very careful here. Flaps will be set to approach on landing. It's funny because you can't really sense your altitude very well. I mean, everything's just white. Oh, look at this. This is crazy. If we had an engine failure now, well, we've got 2 engines thankfully, but if we did have a problem, I would literally have no idea where we'd go. We'd have to try and find some sort of flat clearing. I am seeing some objects, some signs of civilization. I think once we get past this sort of just expanse of snow and ice, which if you look here on the GTN 750, I think we might actually see a bit of life. But I'm going to have to be very careful here as well. We've got a bit of a cabin differential issue here. That's because I've just set it to 0. So let's just make sure that's coming down still. And that should be fine. That will sort itself out. I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. But yeah, if you look ahead, you probably can't tell, but in VR, that's looking like we're almost level. Like the terrain is starting to shift up very gradually, which is a bit sneaky, so I'm going to have to go back up again a little bit here. I was not expecting that, I must admit. So let's just ascend a bit. That's a bit like, you know, when you're messing around in the sea but you don't notice the tide coming in. It's sort of very gradual, and we're getting cold again as well now, so we'll just put some more heat in the cabin. That should do nicely. Auto heat back on again because we're not quite on approach yet, so I am a little bit ahead of myself. Oh, this is great. I love this. I could make videos like this all day long, guys. I know they're not going to get so many views because they're going to be long flying videos, but you know, I spend so much time showing hardware, but these are the kind of videos that showcase why I show hardware, is showing everything in harmony together. The force feedback yoke communicating with the Sim's telemetry, especially with the DOF Reality as well, and the haptic seat, all working together to create that VR immersive experience that you're really truly inside that plane. It's all of those combinations, those things that we spend hours tweaking. I show loads of hardware videos for this very purpose, so that you watching this can experience what I'm experiencing right now. I don't really want to be, that was never the intention of the channel, to be just one of those channels that just showcase new things all the time. I want to show hardware over a long period. I like to live with it, experience it, show you my flying videos, because this channel at its centre is about flight simulation, the passion for aviation. It just so happens that VR is the what's the word, byproduct or way of using and experiencing the hardware and the flight simulation together. It's that thing that makes it cohesive and feels like you're in a real aircraft. Oh, this is great, I love it. Absolutely loving this. Right, so I'd like to, there we go, 15 minutes away and counting. Surely by now we'll have, no, it's still 50. I think actually you don't get information until you're about 50 nautical miles out. So once we get below that, and at any moment now we should get information. To be fair, I could just do this, guys, if I wanted to. Waypoint information, frequencies. Oh, it's Unicom. So we're not going to get any information anyway about our air traffic, about the weather. And unfortunately I don't have the premium edition of the GTN 750, so I'm not going to know the weather. Right, that's just going to make it more interesting, if anything. Wow, 13 minutes away now. Things are happening fast, and as you can see, look at that expanse. Only VR can give you that experience. Oh, wow, look at that. You really get a sense of the scale of this place. It's wonderful. And someone like me that doesn't really like small confined spaces, like I hate lifts. Funny enough, being in a VR headset, looking at that view, I feel like I could just run forever, I could just fly forever. There's like everything around me. And then I just lift this up and go, oh yeah, I'm just in my little office here. No, back to VR, that's better. VR does that. And no triple screen setup will give you that experience. Not a chance. Now it does seem quite customary in these videos recently that when I'm on approach, that's when Melissa gets back from work and the dogs start barking, but I'm actually recording this quite early in the morning because I just could not sleep last night. Just could not sleep. No particular reason as such, I just couldn't sleep, couldn't switch off. So hopefully, unless the postman comes, because I am expecting a new VR headset to arrive shortly, but I don't know when that's going to be the case. So hopefully, if we don't get any interruptions, this should be a nice landing. But you know what it's like, folks, for some reason, if you're going to get something happen, if someone's going to bother you, you know, knock on the door, whatever, it's always going to be when you're landing. I don't know why. This is probably not going to come across on the VR image, but this looks phenomenal, even though it's just because you can see all this whiteness, and then over there you can see all the mountains and the different shades, different colours, how the clouds are casting shadows, and oh wow, just look at this place. What an amazing place. This is what it's all about, especially when you buy an aircraft like this. You need to take it on an adventure because you never know what you're going to get. Right, I think we'll switch the windshield heat off now. Sure, the amps are down there, that's all good. Fuel is looking good. See, I told you we needed every little last drop there. And temperature is still well below freezing. Not sure if there is a speed limit factor for the ice deflectors, but I'm going to put them on now, because just bearing in mind that we're getting closer to the ground here, we might get some FOD. And then you see there the inertial separator is coming online now and moving. All of this is showcasing all the systems. Absolutely brilliant. Oh wow, at 25 Celsius. One thing I can't seem to do very well in this aircraft, and that's kind of keep to a decent temperature. It's a bit too sensitive. If I think of like the 808 Comanche, you can set the temperature better on that. It's a bit fiddly. There you are, there's a negative for you. Look at that for a view, oh my word. I'm not even sure, is that supposed to be a lake? Or is it a glacier? I can't tell. No, it's not frozen over there. Now this particular airport we're going into, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but I'll show you on here, because it should be shown by now, surely. There. So, yeah, I'm not going to pronounce that. Basically, Bravo, Golf, Bravo, Whiskey. There you are. And I suppose we can announce we're going to be coming into runway 24 and definitely full stop landing, and we'll just announce the final.
Bravo Golf, Bravo Whiskey, traffic Beechcraft, November 6060 X-ray is on final runway 24 to land.
Right, I'm now going to go hands off. Watch what the yoke does. Oh wow. That's brilliant. Sorry, I'm giggling like a kid, but oh, I can actually feel, wow, I can feel the weight of the aircraft there. I'm just trimming up. That felt fantastic. That was a proper moment there. Oh wow. And yeah, now I'm really feeling, because we're still going reasonably fast but not too bad, but I can feel the pressure of the ailerons there on the air, the surface. I'm not explaining this very well because I'm just being giddy. You know what I'm saying. All you real pilots out there will be able to explain it better in the comments. This is just friggin' brilliant. I love it. This is so good. How did flight simulation become this good? It's going to get even better this year. What a way to finish the year with MSFS 2024. Let's hope it's as good as we want it to be, eh? So wing pumps can be switched to the on position. Props 2190. Oil doors are now being opened. Flaps as required. Landing gear down lock. Landing light on. Right, we're all good. We are all good. And it's funny, I don't need to keep looking at my attitude. what I mean by that, I don't need to look if I'm dropping, because I can feel it through both the motion rig but also through the yoke, because I'm trimming out the forces, the aerodynamic forces, and I've got a very, very shallow descent going on, and I don't need to, it's not twitchy. I can really, it takes some heft to move the yoke. It really does, it feels great. It feels so good. Anyway, let's get to work. Let's concentrate and we'll just put the light back on. Just trying to work out here. Yeah, we are pretty much on a straight-in final approach now. I do love the GTN 750. I know it's like cheating, really. And it would be fun to do this whole trip without all the fancy navigational equipment, but I, if you haven't noticed already, love technology. Like my car, my BMW 3 Series is laden with technology. I love it. It's got like a radar sensor in it. The other day I picked my sister up because we were just going to go out for a meal, and a deer ran out in front of me because I live in the countryside, and the car was braking even before I responded. It already saw the deer run out in front of me and it was braking for me. I love technology like that. It's so cool. Set our radar altitude for about 300 feet. That should go up at 300 feet. That's our minimums. Just scanning around. I would never do that with any other aircraft unless it was this high fidelity. I'm scanning, make sure everything is where it should be. If you've got this far in the video, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. These are the kind of videos I love to make. Sit back and, you know, enjoy your favourite beverage and just come along on this journey with me, because this is what it's all about. This right here is what the channel is all about. Not about showing you the latest and greatest, but showing you why the latest and greatest is worth it. And I'll say again, in the Pimax Crystal right now, I'm not missing being in any other headset because it's that good. I'm not missing being in the XR4 or the VR1. I'm really not. This is a fantastic headset. Right, where the hell is the runway? Is that the runway over there? It looks like it's completely full of snow. Landing gear coming down. I'm pitching out the forces here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see. I might put another camera on the yoke close up like I did with my review video for the next leg. Yeah, I believe that is the runway, but it looks very snowy from here. You won't be able to see it on the screen at the moment. Oh, we're going to get some bumps here as well. This is going to be a bit of a wild ride, but at least it's clear. The weather is okay, he says. Let's just check the wind conditions. You going to let me do that? No, you're not. Oh, God. So I should be aviating first. Okay, actually, if anything, we probably should do... You see, the wind direction is swinging wildly from one direction to another, but it's actually favouring the other runway. Right, okay, that's interesting. What we're going to do then is we're going to do a left downwind. That will give me a chance to assess the runway conditions as well, because look at that over there. Is that rain? Holy shit, that is one hell of a scene. That's so dramatic. Wow. Oh, I hope this is coming across even like 5% of what I'm looking at here. That is really dramatic, and I think that might be some rain over there. No, it's not showing it though. I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't want to mess around anymore with that. We just need to concentrate on our approach. But yeah, that's some very dark looking clouds over there. Yeah, that definitely is the runway, and there's snow on that runway. Holy crap. Okay. Checking everything is all where it should be. Engine condition is the same as when we took off, so that feels good. As I said before, the Turbine Duke is quite a challenging aircraft to fly on approach, because you have to make sure that you're aware of the lag of the engine, but it makes it a very engaging bird to fly, and very different from the piston version as well. Maybe I could, once I've delivered this aircraft to its new owner, maybe I could fly back in the piston Duke. What do you reckon? We're now on downwind, so we'll just, in fact, we'll just go back and select the different runway. Now we've decided to change. That's changed, by the way, since we've been airborne, in case you're wondering. I'll just call final again.
Bravo Golf Bravo Whiskey Traffic Beechcraft November 6060 X-ray is on final runway 6 to land.
Flaps to approach. That's a shot right there. Look at that. This is going to be a very challenging approach, because it's hard to assess your height, because I'm just over a frozen lake. I think, if anything, I am definitely, in fact, too low down. And I haven't given myself a great deal of time here to get on finals. And that runway doesn't look particularly that long either. Time to shut up and go to work. There we go. Yoke is feeling fantastic. Very, very responsive. That is annoying me. Let's get her down on this front. Oh, look at that. There's windsocks on the runway. Oh, yes. This feels good. That felt really good. Oh, wow. Lots of bumps. Quite a bumpy runway again. Hopefully you can see there from that approach that I actually felt really in control of that landing, because I could finesse the yoke. I could feel the pressure of the air and how the yoke was becoming more responsive, well, lighter rather, because we was getting slower, and because of the, I'm not quite sure what the resolution of the yoke is. See, it's coming back again now. That's cool. I'm not sure what the resolution of the yoke is, but it's really, really very accurate. You can just be so fine with it. So there we are, folks. Welcome to Greenland. That is, I think, is it leg 3 or leg 4? I've forgotten. I've lost count. But what an experience. What an experience it's been. And I've now been, in fact, I haven't even thought about this. I forgot that this video was also about the Crystal Light comfort. I've been in a headset. Let me just check. Oh, wow. Okay. I've been in the headset for 3.5 hours. I can't remember the last time I was in VR for that long. Now, I did once, when I was crazy, I did a 6-hour session in the Varia Aero. So I'm not sure it's going to be quite that comfortable, but it's more than adequate for a decent simming session. I actually feel fine. I do feel that the trick for VR comfort is to not have it really tight on your head. I mean, look at this. Look how loose that is on my head. It just sits on my head. Very, very balanced. Whew. There we are, guys. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching as always. Please feel free to subscribe and I'll see you again very soon for the next leg, which will be to Canada. Let me know which VR headset you'd like me to use. Take care. See you soon.